The success that Yogi has shown this year in terms of the assist-to-turnover ratio, just the maturity, the decision-making he's shown as a freshman.
Oh, he's been tremendous. He really has. He just keeps getting better and better, and he's an incredible worker. He's joined that no matter what time practice ends, no matter how long practice was, club, he's still going to be out there working on his ball handling, working on his shooting. And that's not easy. I mean, it's one thing to do it once in a while. You know, most people do it once in a while. He does it every day. And I think it's paying off. He's had an excellent week, and he just keeps getting better. I think to play this kind of game, tonight have 10 assists, no turnovers in 30 minutes against a team that pressed for almost 40 minutes, that's very, very strong. He's just getting, his rate of improvement is high because his coachability, his learnability, you know, it's all right there. And it's only going to get better.
When you see Vic go,
how many points he had. Didn't take many shots. I'm sorry.
When you see Vic go flying out of bounds, do you hold your breath there for a second?
No, I don't think like that. No, he's just playing the game. I don't think in those terms. But he's an aggressive. He had 18 deflections. I mean, Vic's value is so high, and obviously there's statistics, but the energy that he has, you know, he can energize a team on both ends of the floor. A lot of people can't do that. You know, they can energize it. Maybe they play really well defensively and hard, or maybe they're tremendous on the offensive end, or their rebounds energize. He energizes on both ends, and the fact that he's just on an enormous pace with the deflections for us, you know, which is to me is still the most valuable stat to me, to us personally. He's had 2 games of 20, he's had 2 games of 18, and he's just active, and he's really understood that the better he plays on defense, the more efficient he is on offense, and he just keeps getting better and better.
What's it meant? I think it's 11 straight games for him in double-figure scoring.
I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I mean, but what's it meant just to kind of for him to add that kind of consistency offensively?
Oh, I think it's strong. I mean, you know, his numbers are nationally recognized. You know, when you look at his field goal percentage, but he's taking good shots. He works very hard at it. Yeah, he's an extremely diligent worker. I mean, there's very few people like him. And when I found out last Saturday that I knew he was leaving early. I didn't know he was leaving that early. And he lands. He doesn't even go home. He takes one of those airport shuttles, and he goes to the Boys and Girls Club with his AU coaches and some of his old teammates, and he's out there passing out turkeys at 9:30 in the morning. That's just uncommon. Nobody made him do that. That's just who he is. So, is it a surprise that he's playing that well? Not at all, because we see the work ethic every day. We see the attitude, and the key though is that he just keeps the humbleness, and he keeps the desire that he's got defensively, because everything's coming from that.
How do you think you guys got better? It seemed like you guys got a lot better against the zone within the game from...
I didn't call much against the zone. I really didn't. I wish I would have a little bit now. Wish we'd have run a few more sets against it, but we didn't. We weren't having any trouble getting down and getting a shot. We wanted to make sure that we didn't necessarily take the first one. And we'll be much better against the zone. And plus, I wasn't really into tonight showing a lot of different zone offense. You know, once it became clear that we were going to probably get the game, you know, it just became more about moving the ball, and I was a little more hyperactive at the fact that the subs at the end of the game didn't run it a little better. But that's just me. And I mean, you just want that you don't drop your expectations just because you've gone to the bench. But we'll be fine against the zone. But that I didn't call much at all in there.
What impressed you about your team during the non-conference schedule, and what do you want to see them get better?
I'd have to really think about that. They're getting better. You know, I'm not good at going back and thinking that way. I mean, they're getting better. That's the biggest thing. They're improving. I mean, look at the numbers. The way they're moving the basketball, we're getting better defensively. But you know, the coach's hat stays on. We've got a lot of things to get better at. I mean, we really do. We're getting ready to go into a tumultuous period in this league, as is everybody else in this league. And when you've got this many teams that are ranked, and then you're getting ready to play a team like Iowa that's 11-2 and as good as they are, and some of these other teams, you know, that could be ranked that aren't ranked right now for one reason or another. I mean, none of that makes any difference. Everybody's good. Iowa's very good. I mean, we've got a lot of things to be better at over the long haul. We've also got things we've got to get better at in the short term before we play that game. So I'm not real good at the reflection part of it.
Jordan said that, you know, he's been a little bit, the guys have been telling him he's a little bit passive, he's been passive and looking for a shot. Can you talk a little bit about what you've been talking to him about, trying to get him to be a little bit more aggressive?
Well, whatever he took from it, he responded to. So I'm not going to take any credit for that. He was very aggressive, and he's fully capable. There's no doubt, and we need him to do that. We need him to play that way, and we need him to look for shots. We need him to. The whole team gets better when he's aggressive offensively. I mean, on both ends of the floor. It's not just the energy that everybody gets from him shooting the ball. It's the way he opens up the game for everybody else. And that's what he's capable of. And now, will he get 20 every night? I don't know. But, I mean, he's certainly capable of playing like this more often. And I think the trick is now that he keeps this up. And does that mean he's going to make 3, 4, 5 threes in a row like he did tonight? I don't even know what the number was. Maybe not, but the fact that he's aggressive. What I liked is he missed his first couple threes. And not only is he mature enough, which you would expect, which he is, but he was aggressive enough to say, hey, I'm playing. And I think he'd have made those shots against anybody who played tonight because he had a great mindset. And that's what he has to have.
How much more aggressive has Yogi made him in that he knows he's got someone to sort of delegate to and someone to create shots for?
You'd have to ask them that. I just think that they, I'm on the two of them to play better together on both ends of the floor. But again, that's just the coaching part of it. You'd have to ask them how they help each other in that way. But it's pretty obvious that they do. I'm sorry.
What were you telling Cody? You sat him down?
I said a couple of points I want to make to him. About the game, that we knew that we were going to get him back in. There were a couple of things that we wanted to make sure that we did defensively, with him back in. It was a tough night early because he didn't get to be as aggressive. And frankly, it was either my choice or my fault for sitting him so long. In 2 weeks from now, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't sit him with 2 fouls that long in the first half. But tonight I did. Because I knew there were some things in the second half that we wanted to be able to do, and then he had a couple of fouls. But at the end of the day, the coaching part of it, the strategy part of it, him having to play with 4 fouls, that didn't hurt us. Because we practiced that in practice, but it's not even close in practice compared to the way it is in a real life game. Because what you're always constantly trying to do is, okay, when you've got those foul situations, when you've got to make sure that you've got somebody in, what are we going to do with it? And practice and situational practice is one thing, and we do it, but this is invaluable, and now he's got that under his belt. But I thought he did a really good job of continuing to come back and play, and just dealt with it. So, I mean, I was happy with what he was able to go back and do defensively.
Have the expectations on him been a little bit unfair? I mean, he's not going to be a player that necessarily goes out and gets, 25 and 15 like some people thought he'd be doing this year.
I don't know. I know this. We're 12-1. He's the leader of that. We've been number 1 for all but a short period of time. I think he's dealing with all of it just fine. I really do. I think. But again, I'm never good at this one because I don't even look at him like that. I don't look at him. I see what's written. Some of it you pay attention to, some of it you don't. But the bottom line is, okay, what does he have to get better at? And part of my Christmas break was spending time looking at this team with 2 sets of eyes, looking at the team, okay, what are we not getting that we could be getting? How are we not taking advantage of how they're playing certain people on our team? And what would I do if I was coaching against us right now? And how would I attack this team individually, and how would I attack this team, or how would I attack the players individually, and how would I attack them collectively? And so that's the mindset I look at. And then we base our practices and based our individual improvements around that. So I really that's the expectation level I'm looking at. The rest of it, I'll put it out, I'll say this, I wouldn't trade him for anybody on another team. And there's a lot of great players in the country, there's a lot of really good players. But when you start talking about the whole package of a talent, of a player, when he gets down and he guards in a pick and roll situation, and he goes up there and guards, and a discussion with the referee tonight on the Christian foul, which I still wasn't quite sure what he meant, because we work so hard at getting those guys to be athletic, going up and guarding the pick and roll. Cody Zeller, when he gets down, he goes and traps a pick and roll. There's not 4 or 5 other players in the country who do what he does, doing that, in my mind. So that's the expectation level we're looking at. I'm not looking at some finished product. We're not coaching in that way. We're looking at what can he be better at every day. And for a guy that gets the attention that he gets and gets all the accolades, he's getting coached as harder than anybody in this program. Because not only for what he's going to do down the road, but for what he can do right now. So, in that sense, he's living up to expectations in the sense of how we're coaching him. For where he can be, that's what we try to spend most of our time.
Coach, in the first half, the ratio is about 1-to-1, 3-pointers to 2-pointers, and you put up 48 points. Does it vary game by game, or is there an ideal ratio for your team?
No, we're not I don't even look at it like that. That's a good point, though. We've never been a quantity three-point shooting team. We led the country last year. We led the BCS. We were number 2 overall. And we might have been 6th, 7th in the league in attempts, I think. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was down there. It was down there, but it was a good number. You know, we don't want to hunt threes. Now, Jordan Hulls wants to hunt threes. Go ahead. Okay? But, I mean, we don't want to be hunting threes. We want to get them on drive and kick. We want to do a better job of getting them on offensive rebound, kickouts, kickbacks. We want to get some of them in the break, you know, against the zone. But no, we're not caught up in that. Percentage is crucial. That's the number that's crucial, not the ratio.
When it comes to Jordy, he's obviously a guy who can move the ball really well, makes good decisions with the ball passing and stuff. You know, I don't know if it's numeric or whatnot, but how does he kind of find a balance in terms of when he wants to take a shot or when he wants to move the ball? How do you kind of work with him on how
He doesn't need to have a balance. He doesn't. I mean, that's why he played the way he did tonight. We're not looking for Jordan Hulls to be balanced. And I think I'm answering your question. I mean, he's a guard. Go play. You know, I mean, he could have just as easily had 10 assists tonight, and Yogi could have had 20 points the way he's shooting the ball. You know, I mean, now, and there'll be a night that happens. I think now there's got to be a pretty good balance defensively. You know, with where he is off the ball, you know, how he's guarding on the ball. We've had a couple of mistakes on the ball, okay, and that's part of it. But him being aggressive on the offensive end, sometimes I can make up for that. You know, and what he's got to become, the balance on the defensive end, I know you didn't ask this, but the balance on the defensive end is he's got to do a much better job, okay, of communicating and dictating what's going on when he's off the ball. And because he spends a lot of time working hard on the ball. Offensively, he's got a green light. Go play. I mean, you rarely get a guy that's got, he's not going to make many bad decisions. And when he does, we correct him, we coach him, you know, hard, and then he doesn't make them again. But we want him, we don't want errors of omission with him. They can be errors of commission, and he's earned that. And our team's much better when he's aggressive. So we don't have any set numbers for him like that.
One more question.
These last few games, you got a chance to work Connor and Derek in for some minutes. How important was that going into the conference?
Oh, it's very. Yeah, it's very because they both got to get better, and they will. Hunter's going to really help us. I don't think there's any question about that. He's still feeling his way, and he's not where he can run a lot of different things yet. And when the bullets are flying, you know, he can do it in the practice situations, but when the game is moving, you know, and it's flying up and down, he's not ready for all that. He needs the game experience, and there's no question that we miss that, and he's got to gain it now. But what he does with the rebounding and how much better he's getting defensively, we've got certain points that we want to make sure he's hitting on, you know, every night that have nothing to do with statistics, because it's going to make those statistics get better for him and for us going down the road. And Derek has got to just got to be a senior. Got to be a senior. Go out there and there's really no limits to what he can do in the sense of like, okay, don't go in and shoot, don't go in and do this. It's not that. There's limits on his minutes right now because of coming back from the injury, but he's got to go in and just play with more freedom. But he's got to be maybe just a bit more concerned about making sure that he's helping his teammates on the court. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.